Superman and Lois is class. It's just as simple as that. It's such a contemporary take at Superman. I just love the originality of it. And I said from the very beginning, it sounded like a new, interesting take. I never had confidence in Greg Berlanti doing a good Superman TV show. So when I saw that amazing, outstanding pilot, I was surprised. I think the timing of Superman and Lois was always very, very interesting. I think it was Berlanti and everyone behind kind of the latter Arrowverse saying, look, we're sorry, we dropped the ball. Because I always believed Arrow seasons 1 and 2 and the Flash seasons 1 and 2 were outstanding. It was great superhero TV. And I will never, ever say anything negative about what they did in the early stages of Arrowverse. But it got ridiculous, it got stupid, and they were losing numbers. We all know that. And I think Superman and Lois, in a way, is Berlanti's way of an apology. Now, they were talking to the actor who played General Sam Lane, and he was saying some interesting things. They gave us a record-breaking budget, and things like that, and just talking about the class of the piece and how they were going at this in a special, unique way. They really wanted to make a contemporary Superman show, and make a contemporary Superman show they did. I was just watching some clips of the latest episode because right now I don't have access here in Cyprus to Superman and Lois, sadly. So I'm getting the spoilers. I don't mind that. I'm very excited about it and what's going on in this final season. It absolutely should not be a final season, and maybe it won't be because the numbers are strong. There's a huge fan base of this show, and if I was a Superman and Lois diehard, which I'm not, as a Superman fan, I love it. I think it's amazing. But if I was a diehard fan, I would be petitioning everyone from Netflix to anyone to take this show on. Now, Gunn and Saffron have cancelled this show, right? But we know that. No matter the protestations of Bitsy Tulloch, who fabulously plays Lois Lane, she's mates with them, she's denying it, she's trying to say, well, it was because the CW changed hands, yada, yada, yada. Right, so it would be difficult for another streamer to take this show because DC and Warner Brothers own, the copyright property of Superman. So I get that. But could this be a situation where Zaslav gets involved in this situation? Because Warner Brothers Discovery is a cash-strapped studio. Whether we're talking about Warner Brothers Television or Warner Brothers Pictures, they're in financial trouble. And they can't afford to get rid of something that's bringing in so much money in sponsorships, in digital, seasonal sales, in physical media sales as well. Those box sets do well as well. We all know that. Superman and Lois is a successful show in every meaning of the word. It's an amazing version of Superman, and it kind of complicates that who is the best Superman question, because Tyler Hoechlin is doing something very, very contemporary. He's a husband, he's a father, he's a farmer, he's all these things, and he has to play these things. And he's done such a great job. Now, I loved Tyler Hoechlin as Superman from the very first time we saw him. He debuted in Supergirl Season 2, in the season premiere of that show. And he always worked well with Supergirl as well, didn't he? Him and Mel Benoist just had this great chemistry. You believed they were loving cousins. I spoke the other day how outrageous it is that we've never seen Superman and Supergirl on the movie screen together. But we saw them quite often in Arrowverse. That's something Berlanti certainly got right with Superman and Supergirl. So it's interesting because Superman was the last show that they've done, that they're going to do. It's interesting, isn't it? We start with Arrow, then the Flash character, then Legends, and Superman. DC's first hero is the last one. But in a lot of ways, it kind of salvages some respect for Arrowverse and the CW. I mean, people can mock the CW, they can mock Arrowverse. I didn't like latter Arrowverse. It lost what the Beast used to be. Because I think Arrowverse is one of the most successful comic book franchises I've ever seen in live action. It's kind of the MCU on the small screen. And they did a really good job with the crossovers and everything else. But early Arrowverse was a great achievement, and it came at a time where cinematically DC was very divisive, which is interesting as well. But just watching the clips from the latest episode of Superman and Lois, seeing the fact that Superman is depowered and he's fighting Lex Luthor is amazing. They're having this amazing little brawl, and Superman can't use his powers, right? They're using red kryptonite rays. You know, Lex has used red kryptonite rays to depower him. So it's an interesting little scene. And at first, before he loses his powers, he's very angry at Lex. Lex has done something, I'm not quite sure. He's really, really angry. And it's not kind of the joyful, smiley Superman. He's suffering with his human heart. Because General Sam Lane sacrificed himself so he could live after Doomsday killed him. It's been a really great season thus far, depicting all its supporting characters in a great way. I still think the first season is its best, and that pilot will be utterly beautiful to me. It's some of the best Superman media I've ever seen. And as I said earlier, the beauty of Superman and Lois, it takes Superman and it does something very, very contemporary. Now, someone on X Twitter earlier said, this fight between Lex and Clark shows you why Superman shouldn't be saving cats from trees. As George Lucas wrote for Obi-Wan to say to Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, only the Sith believe in absolutes. I can love Superman 78. I can love the Snyderverse. I can love Smallville. I can love Superman and Lois. It's not about one thing or the other. I'm sick and tired of the this or that generation, right? Appreciate these different visionary attempts at DC. Because for sure, Zack Snyder created a debate. What should Superman be? Should he be optimistic? Should he be angry? Should he be darker? Why can't he be all these things? It's okay for Superman to be angry, Man of Steel, when Zod's threatening the life of his mother. You think you can threaten my mother? Too damn right. He literally has lived all his life as a human being. His reactions are of a human being. He should be angry. It's right that he's angry with Lex Luthor because he's done something to threaten his family. That's right. Superman should have human reactions. He shouldn't be this cold ball that doesn't react to everything and he's like that. He's stilted and chilled and it's okay for Superman to be mad sometimes. That's okay. We kind of saw that boiling over in Superman 2 when that bum, you know, is sitting in his seat. You can see Superman's ego or Clark's ego getting the better of him. Excuse me, sir, would you like to step outside? I like that. Just because he's Superman and he's supposed to be pure-hearted. You know, you can push people too far. You can push any decent, genuine guy too far. I've seen it on Nights Out. So Superman can be optimistic, he can be great, but sometimes if you push the guy too far, he can be angry as well. I've seen it in the animation when he beats 10 tons of SHIT out of Darkseid. And we see him in the Snyderverse, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, beating the living crap out of Steppenwolf. And that's cool too. So Superman, it's all right for Superman to be angry. And I think what Tyler Hoechling's doing here, as I say, he's a father, he's a husband. He's got all these different things going along, right? He's living next door to his childhood sweetheart again. There's this, so there's these complicated dynamics. He's got these two sons. You know, in the early seasons, one had powers and one didn't. One was suffering with depression and anxiety disorder. Very, very interesting. So Clark Kent on this show is dealing with very human problems as well as the Superman problems and challenges and responsibilities he has. It doesn't surprise me how good, how classy this show is, because the guy who developed Flash, or helped develop the Flash show, who was running the first 3 series, is running this show. So I think that Superman and Lois is one of the best versions of Superman media. So I'm not surprised that James Gunn is hugely intimidated by this show and is worried if it stays on air, it may not go down well. Superman and Lois is going down well, but I think his movie won't go down well because people would be saying, yeah, but Superman and Lois is contemporary, it's modern, and it works. In a lot of ways, Superman and Lois does the thing that the Snyderverse didn't. It was able to balance contemporary values, but also don't take away what makes Superman Superman, that optimism. Tyler's Superman and Clark has that pure-hearted optimism. Superman and Lois is class, and it deserves to stay on the air.